Again, we're in for another 5 days of journey. We're journeying on all week long, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Would you say so?
Yes.
All right, so let's just get going. As you can see from my screen, can you see my screen?
Yes.
The rise of compulsive junk collection, known as what?
Hoarding.
Okay, now this is an area I think many of us, if perhaps all of us, are still very confused about. I know I am. And at one point, I couldn't understand that it was an illness. Not until I started to do research, then I became aware that it was actually an illness.
Yeah.
It's an illness, and no one knows when they're going to become. You know, you imagine your closest, your loved ones becoming hoarders. Can't imagine that, right?
Right.
No. Mm.
So, the rise of compulsive junk collection means people will perish while trapped amid their own stuff. As Lieutenant Gordon Abeles tore through the burning Brooklyn high-rise in search of victims last July, he fought back not only to smoke and flames, but junk. The apartment's resident has stashed piles of trophies, luggage, and other trinkets around the home. You could walk in, but you couldn't turn, one neighbor said. Within hours, the resident was dead. It's a scary thing.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
scary.
It is.
If you could see from the images, it's not a happy moment, losing your loved ones as a result of that. So I decided to do some research on hoarding and the elderly. Now, it's not always the case in the elderly. Any age group could fall into hoarding. However, it seems to be more toxic when it comes to elderly. And not only that, because they're more vulnerable as far as navigating around their homes. So it's higher risk when it comes to seniors. They said seniors spend more time at home or grow sentimental about objects from days gone. Many struggle with a cluttered home. But clutter isn't just an eyesore. It can quickly turn into hoarding behavior, compulsively saving items with no real value. And all these images that you're going to be seeing are real. This is not anything made up. So, why is hoarding behavior problematic? Hoarding is more than just a nuisance for firefighters and family members and caregivers. Even more, it affects a senior's quality of life. Clutter takes over living spaces, tripping the functionality from kitchen counters, sinks, bathrooms, and more. All right, so what my goal is to point out what the symptoms are. I am not going to be addressing any of the psychological aspects of it because I am not qualified to do so, okay? But I am bringing in a social worker to do a presentation on, how they can help. How is it one can receive help in that area? So I'm looking at the causes, the problems in relationships, problems in the social and work activities, the health and safety concerns, the fire hazard, the health code violations. I'll address reasons behind the hoarding behavior. Like I said, I am not there to fix it. I'm just looking at what's causing it. Difficulty walking safely through a room, unsanitary living conditions, fire risk, particularly when items are hoarded in the kitchen, expired food in the refrigerator or pantry, and at the end, I'm going to wrap it up with the link between hoarding behavior and Alzheimer's disease, because there is some correlation there. So hoarding disorder can also cause problems in relationships and social and work activities. It often leads to family strain and conflicts, isolation, and loneliness. Hoarding can affect the social development of children as well. Unlivable conditions may lead to separation or divorce, eviction, and even loss of child custody. So that says it's not just the seniors that are dealing with it, it's many various age groups. And it does bring about isolation and loneliness, because I had a dear friend who's now passed on. She's exactly a year and 2 months. She died last January. And she had this illness. And so she was part of my church family. And we all wanted to go there and spend time with her, but we found it difficult to do so, because you can get into the door of her home, but that's as far as you can get. Going up the stairs or even using her bathroom, you wouldn't want to use her bathroom if you were to go there and spend time there. I used to go there and help her organize things, try to get, but I didn't realize it was a mental illness. I just thought she needed help. And everything that I would pack up, and we agree that it's going to the Goodwill, next time I come back, guess what? Stuff is unpacked. And while I was there, I came down with all kinds of sinus problems. I became ill.
Yep.
Upper respiratory. I suffered as a result of going there. So what do you think about others then? They didn't want to go. And she was a very dear, loving person. You want to help her, but you had to watch out for yourself. So I didn't go back after that. After I became basically, I stopped going. So it affects your relationships with people. Hoarding behavior not only affects the hoarder, but also affects the loved ones, especially significant others, such as the hoarder's spouse, their fiancés, their partners, their girlfriends, boyfriends. The significant other feels the negative effects of their partner's hoarding behavior and the hoarder's relationship with their possessions, that it impedes their relationship with their partner. So even if you have partners living in your home, it's going to affect them. If you are a hoarder or your partner is a hoarder, it's going to affect you. Hoarding disorder do not enjoy the same revitalizer. So when we clean our homes, doesn't that always kind of like be, oh wow, fresh and clean? And what's that thing you use that it's lavender, and once you mop the floors and all that stuff, the home always feels revitalized, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do spring cleaning.
Yeah, they said people with the condition known as hoarding disorder do not enjoy the same revitalizing feeling
I
from
know it.
cleaning and organizing the average person do. They don't. Instead, the feelings of extreme anxiety at the thought of discarding anything known as, what is it called? Disposophobia can often hold hoarders back from being able to let go of their belongings. And this is very true, because the same friend that I spoke about, another friend went over there and decided that he was going to go and empty out the refrigerator of all of the old foods and cans and stuff, and to help her. And guess what it caused? The friendship went south.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was a young person that went there. He cared enough for her that he said he's going to go over there, because she was back and forth in and out of the hospital. And he said, you know what? He thinks that part of her illness was to do with,
food.
hygiene in the kitchen. So he was going to dispose of all the food and stuff. And he got into big trouble. He came to me. And I said, you should have checked with me first. I would have told you what would happen. But he did not. So the friendship went south because of that. So they're saying hoarders will display intense resistance to throwing things away, even when they are completely unusable, broken, or soiled.
Yep.
It can be especially difficult to allow a friend or family member to exhibit hoarding out of the concern of their well-being.
Yes.
So there was this friend thinking that he was doing it for her well-being, and all he did was upset her even more.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me, Miss Teresa.
Yes.
Can I cut in?
Sure.
I
Go
have
ahead,
only one sister, and my baby sister been off on her own for over 60-some years. You know, I've never been in her place. We have never been in her place. She's been in the house because she's a hoarder. You know, she'll tell you, you know, I could go back to 1950, show you my little dress and this and that. I said, you can't wear it. What you got it for? Put it in the family museum somewhere. You know, but they like, and that affect me because I pass by her place all the time, and I can knock on the door and stand outside and talk to her, even in the cold.
Yep.
You know,
I know
and
that
I'm not
feeling
gonna
because I
ask
have
her
a
for,
younger brother.
let me in,
My
I know what's
youngest
going on.
brother is a hoarder. Yes, my baby brother. We don't go in his home.
No, indeed.
We knock at the door and wait outside.
That's right.
Yes. Yes, it really affects your family, your relationship, and he's feeling isolated.
Yeah.
He's feeling it. So it's all ages, and he's not a senior.
No,
So they're saying,
there was a program on TV about hoarding, and they had people to come in to remove the belongings.
Yeah.
And, you know, they would talk with the person to see, do you want to keep the, you know, the good pile, the giveaway pile? They had 3 piles, and every time they would put something in, this person, no, I want to keep it, I want to keep it. And they always have a psychologist or someone there that can help them, because it is a mental issue with them to just hold on to that stuff. And I mean, the places they were horrible.
Yeah.
It was really horrible.
I wanted to comment about that, Brenda, because I watched that show. You know, I watch stuff that I don't want to become. And that hoarders thing really got me, because those people keep bottles of urine. They have let their plumbing go bad. They can't use the bathroom.
Yeah.
And you know, they keep jars of their bathroom stuff. And I mean, you see where they have hoarded so much. The ceiling, they have ceilings of stuff. You can't get in the kitchen or anything. So that's a good show to watch.
It's really
and
bad.
It's also important for your family to keep watch over you, but those people are so distraught. You can't get through to them. They want their homes like that. And then on top of that, the animals, the cats, the dogs, the rats, all that bathroom stuff is all combined together. And when the people come to clean it, they have to put on those suits.
Hazmat.
Hazmat.
Hazard stuff for them to clean it out.
Now, if you see from this image, do you see an EMT here? In this Imagine a person with a cluttered house, and the EMT now has to come in that home to navigate to get that sick person out.
Yeah.
Is it fair to the EMT?
No,
it's not. I like to say something. I retired from the fire department, but I was on the accounting side. My son is still an active firefighter, EMT. Some of the stories that they tell right here in the district, not on TV, that's really taking place. When they have to go in the houses sometime, they don't even have a walkway to come through to get the patients out the bed. They had experiences where they had to take the frame out the window to release the patient out the house. It's time consuming. And the person is in there sick. They've been in there as a mental illness. I don't put anybody down because it's a mental illness. It's nothing that they really want to do, but they have no control over their actions.
Right,
But
right.
they have a program in the District of Columbia. I've been retired now 3 years. I think it still exists. So if you know someone that's in this condition, you can call the fire department, non-emergency, and they can put you in place. And they'll have companies come out to the house and clean your house one time to
True.
get rid of it. You know, you can befriend a
Mhm.
person, but if you can help them by, they ain't got to know you called, just an anonymous caller called in and let them know that this person
Yeah.
is living in this condition. And they do have programs in the District of Columbia that can help a person clean the house one time to get rid of all this hoarder mess that they have. But it's just a mental illness.
It
And you
is,
feel
yeah.
sorry for the person.
Mhm.
Yes.
Now I had a senior I used to watch over in my neighborhood, and she was like a semi-hoarder, you know. She just kept too many precious memories. And the precious memories that she was keeping, you know, was always making her sick. But she'll let me come in the house and sit with her. And I got tired of sitting. I said, let me come up and I'll clean, you know, because we had to do house inspection. And she'll let me clean, but she wouldn't let me touch them precious memories. You know, and so we got to the point they end up from out of the front room and out of the kitchen, and it ended up in her she had an extra bedroom in here. It used to be a sunroom, and that ended up being her precious memory room and all. And she got so clean, this I know my buddy had passed away. I said, don't tell me I cleaned the house too good for her and all, you know, because some people get, you know, like you say, a health thing. They live in it so long, their body get used to it. And see, like if it change, you know, it may actually help, you know, hurt them, you know. But I've seen so many different people have, you know, reasons for holding on to so many things, you know. I had a lot of things that I thought I wanted to keep. No, they had to go. I passed them on to my children. You know, my wedding dress, my wedding rings and all that. I gave all that stuff to them and all.
Excuse me, this Diane. I was a hoarder, and it sounds so silly now, but what I hoard was old clothes because I wanted to get back into clothes that I wore at 16. When I mean, at the age of 16, when I was 30 and wearing size 20. And it finally dawned on me, I wasn't going to lose this weight. So I finally threw away those 16-year-old, you know, the bell bottoms that,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
when I was
I still got
16
3
to 25 and had that glass hour shape. I got rid of all of that finally.
I'm still going for it. I understand you, Diane. I understand that.
You're never going to be 16 again, believe me.
No,
Yeah.
Might be
But you can
116, but
get
you ain't
the
gonna be
size.
16.
You can get the size. Sure.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
but the clothes ain't gonna look the same on you, believe
Hey,
me.
that's right.
True, but I got them on because look, I was wearing size 6s when I got married, and guess what I wear now? I still
What?
wear 6.
Oh, that's
I still
wonderful.
wear 6. That's why you know, and I keep it because I say I gotta keep my 38, 22, my 38. That's what I was in the 20s, my 30s. I stopped. And I know what made me big. I know how I gained in my weight during menopause. So I just got rid of all the bad issues of me. That was my hoarding of what I was eating and all that, you know. So once I got rid of my hoarding food, and I can cook it too and had the money to buy it, the weight starts sliding away from me. So I'm back in. But I don't
Okay.
believe in no
Oh, that's
3 size
Thank you.
coverage.
Thank you. Let me move on. We can
Okay, let's
wrap
go.
up at the end, but let's get through these. I appreciate all your thoughts, all your inputs. But let's get these slides done, and then we can go into that group discussion mode. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you again for sharing. So they're
Yeah.
saying hoarding has a lot to do with, you know, it can affect your health and safety concerns. People who have compulsive need to stockpile belongings are called hoarders. Yes. This condition is associated with obsessive compulsive disorder. You've heard of the term OCD.
OCD.
Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder known as ADHD and depression. About 1 in every 300 American adults is what?
Hoard. Yeah.
Right, so it's a known, is hoarding just a phase? Is
No.
it just a phase?
No.
They're saying that compulsive hoarders, the urge to preserve certain items, like Diane just said, in their home is emotional and physically crippling. Diane said she used to collect all of her old clothes from when she was 16, hoping she would get back in it. I understand that, Diane. I tried that too.
Mhm.
I tried that too. In fact, I still got a couple items. I didn't get rid of all of them, but I still got a couple items. All right, so let's look at some of the challenges. It says it's a number of challenges, including the family problems, financial difficulties, and health hazards. All right, so here's one issue. We're going to look at most of the issues within the home that it makes an impact on. First one, we're going to look, well, we looked at how it impacts relationships. I told you how it is with my brother and my friend who passed on. Dust, odor, and ammonia coming from decaying waste products that can cause serious air quality issues in a hoarder. It may be difficult to breathe and respiratory problems may develop. It is dangerous enough to clean up such an environment without respiratory protection. And I went in there without a mask. Thought I was doing a good thing. But if people and animals live in these conditions, it could have a very detrimental effect on their health over time. I didn't live there. I must have spent about 3 hours there at that house on 2 occasions in 1 week. And I ended up sick for it knocked me off my feet for at least 2 weeks.
Wow.
Upper respiratory problems, yes. Hoarders often have difficulty throwing away food, even
What
if
the hell?
gone
My
bad.
goodness.
Salt
Oh,
food on a
wow.
refrigerator and pantry shelves, along with plates of half-eaten food that sit out for days, weeks, or even months, harbor mildew and fungus growth. This makes the house stink and poses serious risk. See this refrigerator here? This is a
Yeah.
real.
Oh, Jesus.
I'd lose a lot of weight if I opened my door and saw that.
As it says, it is real.
Oh, yeah.
This is real.
That's horrible.
Now, sanitation issues. They're saying the poor sanitary conditions are most likely occur in homes where an animal hoarding takes place. Yes. I don't know if you all know, but there are people that have like a dozen cats.
Yeah.
Or dogs or whatever
Yeah.
in their home. A high number of animals living together in a confined place promotes the spread of disease, especially if the owners fail to pick up after their pets. Animal waste can easily contaminate food and pet food, creating a very hazardous situation. Conditions can become so poor that some animals die, but their bodies are never removed, which exacerbates sanitation problems even more. Again, the same person's home who I went to, guess what I saw in there? Dead rats.
A dead.
Yeah.
Dead
Dead
rats.
cats, dead anything.
Dead rats.
Yeah.
Plumbing. This is real.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It is common for plumbing to go bad in homes where extreme hoarding takes place. With a pile of belongings stacked precariously on every surface, it is likely for items that don't belong in the toilet or down the drain to end up there regardless. It clogs the sewers back up and other plumbing issues ensues, leading to unsanitary conditions so prominent in extreme hoarding situations. You would die if you have to.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I say burn that down.
Look at this bathroom.
Oh my God.
That's what it starts off as, a mild one, and it works its way to this condition.
Yeah.
Works its way here. Now, this is the part that I really have a passion about. Is it fair that firefighters should go in when Firefighters often offer these tips to declutter your home and help reduce home fire hazards and increase public and firefighter safety. They want you to keep your fire escape routes open, discard of stacks of mail, newspaper, and magazines, keep flammable objects away from cooking areas while preparing food, consider storing collectible items that take up the floor space in an outdoor shed or storage facility, and alert firefighters to the home if you think you have a hoarder, right? They're willing to come and help you if you have this problem. It's not fair. A firefighter's coming into your home to try to save your life and they can't get in there. It is not right. You know, young firefighter dies and leaves young children behind. It's not right. Firefighters or rescue workers lose precious time to save lives when excessive storage conditions restrict them. First responders are first put in harm's way too. First responders coming in. Yeah, this is what goes on in these homes. And when it's time to get help, this is what these first responders have to deal with. Then there are building safety issues. If it's difficult to walk around a house because of all the junk, it could possible be for the technicians to perform necessary maintenance on HVAC equipment and sprinkler systems, creating a safety hazard. Trash littering the yard makes it easier for burglars to hide and attempt a break-in. So even your yard, you know, you remember that comedy show, Sanford and Son?
Mhm.
Okay, think of his yard.
He was a hoarder.
He was a hoarder,
He
yes,
was a neater one. He was neater than that
right.
because he had to
Rats
sell that.
living in the walls. Yes, rats. When rats live in the walls, it's possible for them to chew through wiring and cause electrical failure or fires. The sheer mass of combustible items in hoarders' home allow any fire that darts to spread quickly. Then the extreme clutter might block windows and doors, a fire hazard that could make it impossible to escape. This is I think this next one is terrible.
Oh my gosh.
Cockroaches, rats, flies, and other pests are attracted to rotting food and animal product and waste products. A severe hoarding situation can become a haven for pests that spreads diseases to people and animals living in their unsanitary conditions. I saw this in the home I went in to help. All right. When rats live in the walls, it's possible for them, as I mentioned earlier, to chew through the wirings and cause electrical failures or fires. The sheer mass of combustible items in a hoarder's home allows any fire that darts to spread quickly. Then the extreme clutter might block the windows and doors. So in this case here, I'm showing an image of the rat or mice going through all these, look at that. They're saying that rats and mice start fires by chewing electrical wires, causing millions of dollars of structure damage each year. It has been estimated that rodents cause up to 20% of undetermined fires in the United States each year.
Gosh, that's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah. Okay, clutters turn into what? Dangerous
fuel.
fuel. And we all know this, one man's trash is another one's treasure. Firefighters, too much of it packed into a home will turn all into dangerous fuel for active fires. Firefighters are increasingly battling fires made vastly more hazardous by hoarding, says Justin Bryant, a firefighter at Rock Springs. So, you know, I know that some things are really valuable and you want to hold on to them, but think of the risk that it comes with. Containing a fire in a home where hoarding is an issue can take twice as many firefighters and twice as long.
Hey, Dark Roast drinkers, there's a side of
In,
Yeah.
in the best of conditions, when rooms are sparsely furnished and clear of clutter, firefighters sometimes must blindly follow a search pattern along walls and furniture. Excessive clutter can throw firefighters off and seriously hamper rescue efforts. Okay. All right, so now we're going to look at food hoarding among the elderly. They're saying that raw and uncooked meat and poultry can make you sick.
Oh, yeah.
Yum.
Most poultry, what is called Campylobacter. It also may contain salmonella. I think we know about that.
Yeah.
And what is this?
Clostridium.
Raw coat board you contain
Right,
Yeah.
bacteria.
Yeah.
Raw meat.
Bacterium,
is
Right.
also contain salmonella.
Bacterium,
Mhm.
bacteriums.
Mhm. All right, so let's find out more on why. For example, let's go back. Older adults have a higher risk because as people age, their immune systems and organs don't recognize and get rid of harmful germs as well as they once did. So that's why it's more of a higher risk with older people, because your body doesn't function. For example, like I mentioned that my youngest brother is a hoarder, he's young. So he's still not in danger quite yet as far as health. But had it been perhaps me, I would be a higher risk.
Yeah, you'd be dead too.
It says nearly half of the people age 65 and older who have a lab-confirmed foodborne illness from salmonella, Campylobacter or Listeria or E. coli are hospitalized. I know someone who just recently was hospitalized for sepsis.
Listeria.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can you imagine? This is a real picture. This is very real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does she look happy?
I didn't
No.
even see her at
No.
first.
You can't even see
No.
her, right? This is a home.
Mm,
Lives in. All right. So if food past the expiration date
Yeah.
and the food is spoiled, you could develop symptoms of food poisoning, said
Yeah.
a registered dietitian, nutrition.
Nutritionist.
Right. They're
Mhm.
saying that the symptoms of food-borne illness can include fever, chills, stomach cramps, diarrhea, nausea, and vomiting.
Mhm. Yeah.
Expired food should always, you should always examine your food before eating it to check for signs of mold or strange smells. And in
Mhm.
many cases, you won't be able to see bacteria that
I
cause
know it.
food
Mhm.
Yeah,
poisoning
that's
or
the
illness.
thing. You don't see it sometimes or smell it.
Right.
Yeah.
When uncertain about whether or not a food is still safe to consume, experts says you're probably better off erring on the side of caution. And
Throw it away.
Don't
sometimes
eat it
you
at all. Don't eat it
you
at
have
all.
food in the refrigerator and you're saying, oh, I don't want to waste that food. But think about what it could do to your body.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
right. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so what is your best choice?
Throw it
Throw
away.
it away.
Toss
Throw
it.
it away.
Toss it.
Yeah. Most of us have probably eaten foods knowing that they're past their expiration date. And sometimes we do it accidentally, as it can be a bit tricky to determine which items are worth actually tossing, especially if the food still seems okay or if the expiration date has rubbed off. And I've been faced with this decision. So.
Yeah.
All right, so at worst, you could develop food poisoning or be exposed to dangerous amount of harmful bacteria. If you do eat a food past the expiration date and the food is spoiled, you could develop symptoms of food poisoning. Oh yeah, we did this one before. I don't know how I have a duplicate here. Yeah. Somehow I do. All right, so what are the signs? We must know the signs and the symptoms of infection. And I found this. It says fever. Sometimes the only sign of an infection, fever. I know if I ever have food poisoning or stomach virus, I usually get chills and sweats. Change in a cough or a new cough. Sore throat or new mouth sore. Shortness of breath. Nasal condition, stiff neck, burning or pain with urination. Those are some of the symptoms. All right. So why is the most common bacterial infection in elderly? UTIs are the most common cause of bacteria. A type of bloodstream infection in older adults, according to the AAFP. Diabetes and other cataract can use to increase the risk of UTI in elderly people. So we're at higher risk, no matter what. We can't eat old foods. Perhaps when we were younger, we could have, but at this age, really careful. How do you tell if an elderly person has an infection? They're saying complaints may include fatigue, loss of appetite, anorexia, confusion, delirium, falls, or sometimes urinary incontinence. Older adults may not have fever, even in some severe infections. Okay, so now we're going to look at some of the bacterial toxins. Notably, some bacterial toxins found in expired food can be life-threatening. Dr. Morris also told Insider that eating contaminated food also poses the risk of exposure to bacterial toxins, which damage the kidneys. Yes, possibly leading to life-threatening situation, damaging your kidneys. Think twice before you eat food that has been expired. Some foods are more associated with foodborne illnesses and food poisoning than others. They can carry harmful germs that can make you very sick if the food is contaminated. Raw foods of animal origin are the most likely to be contaminated, specifically raw or undercooked meat and poultry, raw or lightly cooked eggs, unpasteurized milk, and raw shellfish. Yeah, raw shellfish is dangerous. Fresh, meaning fruits and vegetables, also get contaminated. Certain foods are more likely to make you sick. Any food can get contaminated in the field during processing or during other stages in the food production chain, including through cross-contamination with raw meat in the kitchen. So you're cutting up chicken. When you finish cutting up your chicken, right?
Yes.
What do you think you should do after you finish cutting up your chicken?
Wash the knife
Let
and the
the wa-
cutting board.
But
Yeah.
hot soapy water, it wipe down everything.
Wipe
That's right.
down everything because of what? Summer.
Salmonella.
Right, yes, right. So
E. coli too.
what are the causes of food hoarding? Why is it that food is part, why is it? Seniors on fixed income may have a legitimate need to avoid wasting food. Hoarding food may also stem from having indecisive personality, a family history of those who hoard, and stressful life events, such as the loss of loved ones, eviction, and divorce. So they put away food for the sake of saving money, right?
Yes.
Elderly individuals who hoard food may also experience other mental issues such as anxiety disorder, depression, and we talked about OCD, and the ADHD may be present in those who have a tendency to hoard food. The causes of hoarding disorder are little understood, and yeah, it's very much little understood. So what are the warning signs of food hoarding? They're saying they tend to buy, seniors in particular, who hoard food tend to buy surplus quantities of food items, or affect individuals who purchase more food products than they could possibly consume because of the expiration dates. The elderly may clip large amounts of coupons to use during shopping trips. So you buy to save, right? You think you're saving, but you may be causing the downside to that. And everything in life, there's a pro and a con. And so you think you're saving, buying and, you know, a whole lot. But then the downside, when that food expires and you think, well, no, I can't throw it away because I spent money on it. And then you sick.
Yeah.
Here's another area that seniors find. They said discount food stores attract seniors who hoard. These older customers purchase large amounts of discounted food products that turn moldy, become stale or spoil before the senior has an opportunity to eat them. Seniors might buy new types of food, let them expire, and avoid discarding them. You don't want to waste, right? Perhaps you came from, you know, times are hard and you got used to saving food. All right, so they're saying rusty, swollen cans. A persistent, noxious smell emanating from the home can be a telltale sign of food hoarding. If the unpleasant odor are due to rotting food, the elderly individual might have a problem with hoarding food. Rusty and swollen cans in the pantry are also indication of food hoarding. Get rid of those old rusty cans in your pantry. Family members who notice large amount of expired or perished food in the home should help the seniors, loved ones throw them out. But you got to be very careful if you're going to those loved ones' homes. Discarding foods that have gone bad is important to prevent illness and food poisoning in the event seniors consumes them. Hoarding food, hoarding, including food hoarding, may not be preventable since the exact cause is unknown. They don't know why, you know. Okay. Cognitive behavioral therapy. They're saying, okay, perhaps if hoarding food becomes a part of your loved one's lifestyle, then perhaps it could be what is known as cognitive behavioral therapy, that you could seek help for your loved one. They said, however, loved ones can encourage the senior in their lives to seek this CBT. They're saying during CBT, patients learn to discard excess items without feeling stress and anxiety. So they're saying one way to help them is to get them through this therapy, and that will eliminate their stress and anxiety. And as you can see, based on the image showing here, it's about thoughts, behavior, and emotions. And it all has to do with it, yeah. They're saying for the cognitive behavior therapy, the prescription medication may also help improve symptoms of food hoarding, whether it's mildew or more severe. Family members should be aware that some seniors may not see food hoarding as a problem, which can lead to difficulty in them accepting treatment. So again, they may not want to have the treatment. So it's a very sensitive topic, especially for the family members. What are the consequences of this food hoarding? Look at that kitchen. Can you work in this kitchen?
Nope, you can't
No
even
way.
walk it.
No.
As I mentioned earlier, food poisoning is part of the concept because seniors have a more critical, weaker immune system. So when we consume food that is bad, especially meat and dairy products that are well beyond the expiration dates, it can result in a host of diseases. And that's what I think that was part of my friend's problem. She had cancer to begin with, and she became cancer-free. But then she continued, she went back into the home, continued with the hoarding. And if you went to her home, you would see food for months old. And you wouldn't dare touch that because she's saying it is still good. And she got weaker and weaker. And she was always, one of the things I remember, every time I'd get a call from her, she's at the hospital. And why is she at the hospital? Because her system got backed up. Why did her system get backed up?
But she was eating bad food.
She was eating bad food. And this was a frequent thing to the hospital. She was eating bad food. All right. They're saying to be careful with your fruits and vegetables. They said, because again, bacteria on those fruits and vegetables. For example, they're saying sometimes raw fruits and vegetables contain harmful germs that can make you and your family sick, such as Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria. The CDC estimates that germs on fresh fruits cause a large percentage of foodborne disease illnesses in the United States. The safest produce is cooked food. And then the next thing, if they're fruits, is to wash them thoroughly before. And I'll give you a good example. One day I was on my way home from work. I was severely, like really hungry. So I stopped at the supermarket, bought some grapes, and guess what I did?
You pop them in your mouth.
And then next, what did I have next? Few hours.
Diarrhea.
Well, no, swollen
poisoning.
Swollen lips.
Okay.
Yes.
Really? Wow.
Swollen lips, yes.
And you were allergic to whatever they sprayed on it.
And exactly. That's exactly what happened. I was allergic to whatever it is. And then it went down to my throat area. I could have choked and died.
Yeah.
That's true. That's so true.
So here are some of the fruits that are said that we pick in the supermarket that are usually contaminated. Strawberries.
Wash them.
Kale, custard, and mustard greens. Nectarines, apples, grapes,
cherries, peaches,
and peaches. Gotta wash them thoroughly. In some places you can even buy a product where you spray on them.
Yeah.
And I put them in water and just scrub.
Water. Yeah.
And in soap and water. Sometimes
that's the most
oranges and stuff
reliable
like that.
way. Yeah, especially them greens.
Yeah, those greens, yeah. Especially those greens, yeah.
And I haven't eaten the outside of an apple, and I don't know when. Because I don't trust it, even after you wash it.
So physically, hoarding behavior creates what? Do you see what's going on here?
Yeah.
Images.
Yeah.
There's the cord. That person is about to trip, right?
Yeah.
The person, these two, and this must be a husband and wife here.
No place to sit.
They look overwhelmed. They look overwhelmed. Physically overwhelmed. And this one fell down.
Yeah.
He tripped.
Right, he tripped, yeah. They said tripping hazards are most dangerous for older adults. They are at a higher risk of falling due to age-related changes in balance and mobility. The unsanitary conditions in the hoarder's home can quickly turn an injury into a nasty infection.
Yeah.
All right. Now, it's not always related to food and clothes. Look what's going on here.
Books and magazines, yeah.
All right. So in my research, I found some articles and they're saying where there's a link between hoarding behavior and Alzheimer's. I wasn't even aware of that. So they're saying that hoarding behavior is seen periodically in Alzheimer's and other dementias, such as frontal temporal dementia, where individuals gather and stockpile things. Now, if he were, let's say he was a smoker or he lit a candle, What do you think is
Go-
going to happen?
He's gonna
Start a
go up in a blaze.
In a
start
blaze.
fire.
In a blaze.
Stars of fire.
Everybody will know that he smokes.
In a blaze. Look at this.
Ooh.
What the hell? Oh, excuse me.
Wow.
Yeah, like I said, you can hardly see the person. It's
Right.
so much stuff. Wow.
Right.
Oh my
Seniors
goodness.
might not be willing to part with useless papers, keeping
Mhm.
them all piled around furniture. They also might stock up on food and store it continually until it's rotten, and then still be not willing to dispose of it. So paper is also, dangerous for,
Yeah.
stockpiling. So I found this article, and it says, my mom is 79, and in her 60s, she was diagnosed with MCI. Now she has early stage dementia. Hoarding notes all over. She has notes all over her walls. Can't remember things. So now her memory's going bad, and she can't remember things. So now she is writing them on these Post-it things.
Yeah.
And she's taping them on her wall to help her with her memory.
Yeah.
She says, I can't imagine what middle-aged dementia is if this is so bad in early stages. I do her meds and showers. I'm a bit worn out, but okay. Family relation, family members really feel it. They really do.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up with a person that suffers from hoarding.
Yeah. Yeah. They said people with Alzheimer's tend to hide things. So they hoard it. They forget where they put them and then accuse others of taking them.
Yes.
This is sometimes goes along with the delusion that someone is going to steal their belongings.
Yes.
So now they're hiding the stuff because they think somebody's going to steal it. This is so common. It's a very common thing.
Teresa, my mother went through that. She had early stages of Alzheimer's, and she would accuse my son of coming and taking little things out of her room, like a fingernail clipper or her earrings or just little things that she would constantly call him on his phone and berate him and tell her to bring my stuff back, bring this. And we say, Ma, Jim did not take any of your stuff. And this went on for a long time until we finally tore up his number, took her number out of her phone because she kept doing it. Yeah.
And that poor kid suffered, right?
Yes, he did.
That poor kid suffered.
Yes.
I don't want to, so I'm very careful. I have a cousin in the UK. My brother and I went to visit her, and she's going through this stage. And she asked him to go upstairs and help her take something down that she couldn't reach. My brother looked at me and said, should I?
I don't blame you.
He whispered in my ears, she might accuse me of stealing something while I'm upstairs.
Yes.
They
And the
do
thing
that.
of it is, she always was in her room, so he could never come in her room and take any of the stuff.
Yes.
But she constantly kept calling him to bring her stuff back. I mean, little stuff. So,
they're saying,
yeah.
Both pre-Alzheimer's patients and those vulnerable to anxiety sometimes hoard as a defense mechanism against future loss. Yes. Hoarding can feel like a small means of control during the early to middle stages of dementia. The Alzheimer's Association has identified a few possible psychological and medical causes for hoarding, as well as ruminant and hiding behavior. So they're saying physical changes in the brain leading to confusion, memory loss, and impaired judgment is a part of it. Loss of control, the desire for a sense of security, the ability to touch familiar objects brings comfort, yeah? Fear of losing items or being robbed, boredom, lack of stimulation, and difficulty initiating new activities. And I could see this. It is very true. you're aging, you're losing control of your, your thought process. And so it brings on a high degree of, anxiety, especially,
Yeah.
it does. So is your living condition safe? They're saying no.
No.
Again, it's unsafe, not just for you, for your family members, for first responders. Yeah, it's not fair. One of the things we had to do with the same friend of mine is that when she finally came out of rehab, we had to rent a studio apartment because she needed a 24-hour care. So no nurse or any carer wanted to be in her home. It's unhealthy for them. So now she had to find money to rent a studio apartment so that someone could care for her. And my friend and I, we went in there and we collected things, set it up so that the carer, so when she came home from rehab, that's where she stayed until she ended up in hospice care. But she couldn't go back to her house because no one would want to care for her in the condition of that home.
Can't blame.
It's all around. It affects everyone.
Yeah.
So someone earlier talked about what DC can do. So here's what I found online. This is the Washington, DC Hoarding Cleaning Services. They have a lift. They said they have a 24/7 hoarding cleaning help from a local Washington, DC company with unmatched compassion, discretion, and experience for most challenging hoarding jobs. This is the number. You can call them anytime, and they will come. And as they mentioned, unmatched compassion to help you. If you have, or you don't know of a loved one that's within this condition.
What?
So if you want, I could put this number in the chat. Let me put it in the chat right now, and you might be able to help someone with, giving them this number. It's 202-699-2333. If you call this number, they're going to come out and help you or help your loved ones in this case. But I can't use names, but in talking with seniors here in my group, of all the seniors that I'm touched, I know of a few who've contacted me and need help. But in order for us to help them, they've got to trust that those who are coming into their home
There
is
you go.
on their side.
You're right.
They've got to trust them. So if they're not comfortable with that, that's where I'm going to get a social worker, and I'm actively looking for one.
Oh, a social worker, yes.
To make contact. And it was in the event, this DACO asked me to present this to you all because it's obvious that DACO was having to deal with this.
Okay.
I did say I'm not qualified as far as how to the emotional and the behavioral part. That's not my area of specialty. So we have to get somebody certified to do that. So I'm working on that right now. Okay, so this will continue with the social worker, coming at that point and doing a presentation on how we can get help for this. Okay.